What's up, YouTube? It's been a long while, some years since I've been back on this um, platform. Uh, I have been healing and basically just um, trying to do things. I had projects that I have been doing like in my house. So just been using my time to do that and trying to learn how to trade stocks. I've been doing a lot of investing, so a lot of time I spend as of late is like looking at, listening to different podcasts, financial podcasts, and looking at like Bloomberg and things like that, trying to just get an understanding. I've been just doing a lot of things with investing, so and a little trading too, options here and there. So, I'm just trying to figure things out here. But I've been trying to make money, so I'm growing the money. That's what I'm trying to do. Yeah. So anyway, I'm making this video because also I don't know if any other persons has been going has gone through this or is going through this or not. Um, so what happened was I decided that I was going to do a DNA on, with the ancestry. Well, I did the first one on 23andMe. But to me, and they're not a bad platform if you don't really, I don't know. I wanted to know more about my genetic background. So I did Ancestry. To me, it's a little more in depth. And so um, I did Ancestry too. I did both. So it was people that popped up um, in my DNA and kind of odd. Now, some people, so I kept asking questions to my mom and my uncle, you know, because the person that was listed in there with another person as a relative was like a close family member. And so I was trying to sort it out like, it's so and so. We called him Uncle so and so, and he was like a really close family friend. Well, his daughter showed up in my DNA. So I was like, maybe he was kin to the family because my mom said at some time ago she was saying so how he would go around telling people we were kin. He would go around telling people he was kin to them. Okay, so I was like, well, I don't know. He was a really religious man, so I don't think he was. I mean, not really religious, but I mean, he was religious enough. I don't remember swindling people and doing dirt to people. So anyway, um, so I had my mom. I said, well, this is all weird. I need you to do your DNA so I can get down to the end of so I can figure out who is who. I need to be able to separate DNA so I can see who she's kin to. Cause maybe she's kin to you too. Uh, oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I said, well, maybe she's kin to you too, and then we'll know that he's our cousin or uncle or whatever he was supposed to be. So she did her DNA. She's agreed and she did her DNA. Did her DNA. We got pretty much the same people except for a few people. So there's one lady I contacted, was my second cousin, right? She was pretty high. And so I was like, oh, so I had got in touch with her, been talking to her, a couple other ones too. And we had been talking back and forth and things like that. So then I said, okay. The other young lady I said she had really high DNA. So if you ever do any research on how DNA person determines a person is kin to someone. Um, we all share. we share chromosomes with our parents. You know, so basically, you'll have the I'm sorry, my brain got a fart. I think it's 24 chromosomes, and so you have the both the mother and the father have them. So the kid gets half and half, right? And so that's how you basically. So they look at they. It's I don't know exactly what this called. The DNA is called itself, but so like I'm my mother's child, um, and then my father, and then so if my mother they go and pull my mother's name, pull DNA, have me, my DNA coming from her is gonna be high because I'm her daughter, direct connection. So the her more of her DNA being me. So mine would be like 3,000 something, right? That's how you know that's your child. If it's over 3,000, basically that's your kid. Um, if it gets like between 1,500, 1,700, things like that, almost 2,000, it is a sibling or a grandchild, most likely. If it's a sibling or a grandchild, grandmother or something like that, it has to be someone in the next line down, right? So that's the next line down. Just keep that thought. Next line down. So I said, oh, okay. So my granddaughter had did hers, and so she had hers was like 1640, 64, 1664 or something like that of the DNA, of my DNA, right? They counted that number of thousands, it's in the thousands. So I was like, okay, my granddaughter. I know who she is. My granddaughter. I know she's my granddaughter for a fact. So then I said, well, shit. Uh, she's my granddaughter. So then I realized that this young lady, I hadn't even looked for months because what had happened was a young man popped up in my DNA as well, and one of my cousins. So this young man, my cousin Braylon, he came up in my and I it said first cousin. I was like, I don't know who he is, first cousin. And he was high, like high up in DNA. So his was like cousins, like first cousins and stuff like that. If they're under 1,000, then they're most likely like if they're like well, I'm gonna say it like this. If they're under 2,000, they're probably I mean, well, what no, 1,500. I think it's under 1,500, something like that. If it's like under 1,500 or something like that, and as it gets lower, they're more likely for first cousins, right? Okay, so Braylon popped up in my thingy. I had never, he didn't have any bio. He had never sent any. I sent him a message here and there to figure out who his family was, but he didn't say respond. So then one day he did respond. He put up a note say, uh, I've never met my father, blah, blah, blah. His name is David, blah, blah, blah. He's from Michigan, blah, blah, blah. This and that. Okay. So I was like, that's my Uncle David. Oh my goodness. So I called my mom. My Uncle David was in hospice. He was dying. So my mom called on the phone. There's a young man saying, claiming that you might be his father, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, yeah, that's my son, Braylon. That's my son. So we were all like, "What?" And found the long lost son. This young man still didn't get a chance to meet him because he died like within like 2 weeks later or something like that. He passed away, so he never got a chance to meet him. Um, anyway, bypass that. Just know I found a family member. I've been finding family members. I was like, oh wow. So I've been doing research, kind of trying to figure out. I have been doing research. Like what the frick? Uh, whew. Oh, sorry, y'all. I get you to get up so early in the morning, and by the end of the day, I'm yawning. So anyway, um, I said, okay, he's my first cousin. We know for a fact he's my first cousin. My uncle knows who he is. Blah blah blah. So we went on through that. So, um, fast forward, I saw the young lady's DNA. Her count was like close to my granddaughter, like 1636. I was like, how is her DNA so freaking high? Wait a minute, I know that she ain't my kid. I know she ain't my one of my children's. She was older. She wasn't a young woman. So I said to myself, well, she was older than me. Yeah, she's older than me. And so I said, well, shoot, who is that? So I wasn't even thinking. So I looked down and saw it was 1636. And I looked at my granddaughter's, who was right above hers. I was like, wait a minute. Hold the frick up. Hers is about the same as Leanna. Adriana. Sorry, I got these grandchildren. Hers about the same as Adriana's, and Adriana is my granddaughter. I know for a fact. So I went in and looked under why is her so being so high, and it said possible grandmother. Well, I knew she wasn't my goddamn grandmother. Possible aunt. I knew she wasn't the aunt of my. Well, no, it didn't say. It said no, not aunt. I'm sorry. It said grandmother. It said. Then it said. I think it did say aunt, and then it said half sibling. And I was like, half sibling. I was like, wait a minute. So I called my mom. I was at work. I was like, Ma, is something you got to tell me? Because why is her DNA so high? And this and this and this. My granddaughter's, Adriana's, is this high, and hers is almost the same. And it's saying it's possible sibling. So how could this be? My mother says, Abaca, I hope that you don't get upset. But I might have done something with him, you know, just get some money because I had to take care of my kids. And, you know, I said, I know you ain't telling me this now after all these 50 something years of my life. And I'm just not finding this stuff out. You should have dang on thought, let me get her tested just in case. Because I know I've been creeping around here, sleeping around here. I know it. So I think I went blank at that point because I couldn't even think of why. Stuff kept going through my head. We had the family reunion. That was actually 2 weeks from then. I just was devastated. I still am. It still bothers me to talk about it because it's a very sensitive subject. Is when you find out the person that you went to bed as is not the person you wake up, and then people say, "Oh, you're still the same person." No, I'm not, because the person I thought I was, I'm not even she any longer. I'm not her. You know why? Because my DNA has changed. The DNA that literally not changed, but the DNA that I thought I had has changed. So now I am not that person any longer. I'm not that person any longer. I think I might change my first name to whatever I want now. I would change my first name to what I want it to be, you know. But then I started thinking about my grandmother, and I just was devastated finding that the one woman that I love so much in this world was not my grandmother. Like it wasn't my blood relative. And people keep telling my family, and I appreciate them. I love them, but people say, you still call them family. Well, I don't know what else to call them. What do I call them? Those people? I don't know. Either way, they kept telling me, well, Abaca, you are still our cousin. You're still my niece. You're still this, that, you know. I appreciate that, them telling me that I'm still considered a relative because they haven't known anyone but me. And the man I thought my father, I wanted to do a DNA just so I can to verify that, this record is correct. And he refused, of course. And so my auntie was like, "You still my niece, your only niece. And I ain't seen nobody else. Blah blah. I was there when you were born. Blah blah blah." And so I love my auntie too. Very much. I don't know what to call her. She's my auntie. Um, where I thought the person I would be, and then they kept telling me that I'm still a relative. Before that, I was not no still nothing. I was just your cousin. I wasn't still your cousin. I wasn't still your grand niece. I wasn't still the granddaughter, still the nothing. I wasn't still. I wasn't still. And this word still is strong to me. It just feels like, oh, well, we'll accept you. Been here all this time. We still want you. We're still in the family. Like, if I was the blood relative, I can get kicked out anyway because I'm a part of. But because I'm not, it's like, oh well, you still here until we don't want you here. And I'm sure they wouldn't, but I've been trying not to cry about this so hard, and family members keep calling me, asking me if I'm coming to the family reunion in Texas, and I would like to go, but I can't look them in the face. I won't be able to do it, so I can't attend any more family reunions. Because how do I look them in the face? And it's not that not just the embarrassment, but the emotion. How do I look them in the face? And be happy about it. I can't do it. I'm going to cry because I don't want to ruin a family reunion. So, yeah, I'm not going. Anyway, I hope this helps someone. Well, I don't think it'll help anyone. I just needed to help me. I needed to get this off my chest. I needed to talk about it. I needed to, you know, um, let someone know what I've been going through. I've been struggling through um, lately, trying to deal with um, just not being me any longer, you know? And so, yeah, just not the same person anymore. Anyway, thank you all for listening. Good night.